So, I'm just recording. Hi, Michelle. Nice to see you again.
Hello.
You've
Good to see you.
you sent me through a poll last night, about midnight, I recall, which had a very
Yes.
interesting result. The most interesting aspect of it was the rise of New Zealand First, really. But there's other interesting aspects to that as well that you might want to talk us through.
Well, yes, first of all, the Morgan poll was taken on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, so it's a fairly recent poll. And what it's suggesting is that the Nationals are set for an election win, but not with the majority that they were looking like a few days earlier, probably due to the teapot saga having some effect. But our poll shows, as of last night, that the Nationals are polling at 49.5. Labor is polling at 23.5. That's also down. The Greens are polling at 14.5, up 1.5, which is very high. And as you said, New Zealand First, Winston Peters is at 6.5, up 3.5%. So that's a double for there. So those are the major findings of the poll.
The context of that is rather interesting in the sense that we've had 4 polls over the last 24 hours, which have all showed National falling a fairly large amount, about 3%.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that we have 4 polls confirming the same thing, does that enable us to conclude that National's vote is leaving?
Yes, I think it's not surprising. I think the Nationals were polling at sort of 53% was a very, very high number. And all of those polls, including ours, suggesting that the Nationals are coming back, suggest that that's really what's going to happen. And it isn't surprising given the context. I mean, the teapot saga really didn't do any favours for the National Party at all. And one of the points that you made in your email back to me was you made the point that confidence in the way the country's going is also down. And if you remember
Hugely.
when we first spoke... Yep. First of all, we had, 136. Now it's 118.5. And we've only got 49% of the New Zealand population feeling that the country's going in the right direction.
Down from
now,
61%.
That's a major drop.
Down from 61%.
Down from 60.5. That is a big drop. And I look at that and I say, well, what is this about? Is this real? And, as an outsider, we can only look at the data. But what the data was showing is that New Zealanders are very, very aware of the global financial crisis. They're very aware and concerned about global financial issues. Increasingly, they're concerned about the state of New Zealand economically. And I think what we've seen over the last couple of weeks is that the leaders haven't been dealing with those issues. They haven't been talking about that. They've been talking about a teapot saga. They've been talking about sort of party politics. And clearly, New Zealanders would say, well, that's not really what the issue's about. Is the country going in the right direction at all? So those things all make sense to me, and they make sense in terms of the National Party vote coming back and also the Labor vote coming back. And not surprisingly Sorry,
keep going.
With Winston Peters increasing his support, I think what you've got with a minor party or an individual person in a situation like this, they need oxygen. They need to get their awareness up. And of course, the teapot saga gave the perfect opportunity for him to raise his awareness. So that increase in support is not all that surprising. Now, whether that actually translates to a full set of 6.5 at the polling booth is probably not likely. It'll probably be a little lower than that. But you can see that it's just he gained oxygen through the whole event. And I think the Greens at 14.5 is very high. We overestimated the Greens at the last election, although in Australia we thought the Greens wouldn't poll at 11.5. They in fact polled 11.8. And I think what we're seeing with the Green Party is a couple of things. One, New Zealanders are concerned about environmental issues, and particularly, things like the oil spill, which are really serious practical issues. And the Greens are right there talking about those issues that people are concerned about. And also recently their response to the, the billboard vandal issue was a very practical, sensible response. So it's like the Greens are behaving and being perceived as a real party. So I think it is, it's likely that they will poll extremely well. But of course, for the Greens, one of the issues about how they actually poll is about whether they've got people manning all of the booths. And if they don't have people manning all of the booths, then the vote might come back quite a little bit.
So reading all these things together, falling national vote, collapsing confidence in the future, and an increasing level of undecideds, is it possible that, are we looking at an electorate that's kind of angry about the election, that's annoyed about the way it's gone?
Yes, look, we've actually got the undecided has come back to about 4, so it was running at 8%. So we're seeing that people are actually coming back to some kind of decision. But yes, I think the fact that you've got people voting for minor parties, and I'm considering the Greens a minor party, although that's an arguable point these days, but people supporting the non-major parties is a sign of frustration with major parties and frustration with the way the election is actually panning out, I would have said.
Okay. So the other thing that you did this week was the reactor debate, which on Monday night.
Yes.
And I've had a chance to have a look at some of the segmented data which shows the opinions of the various political parties or the way people who say they voted for different parties at the last election reacted to Gough and Key. And there's some very interesting patterns which emerged there. In particular, there seems to be a pattern that the National Party voting audience was reacting very well in the studio to Gough on the night. What could we read into that?
Yes. Look, typically what you see with these kinds of reactor responses is that people sort of support the party line. So if they tend to be a national voter, they'll tend to support John Key and anything and everything he says. If they tend to be a Labor voter, they'll support Phil Gough in whatever he says. So the real challenge for a leader in a debate is to actually sway some people who are actually supportive of the other party to their point of view. And what we did see is we saw Phil Gough was able to move fairly large numbers of national voters in his direction.
Above the line.
So, you know, as he spoke, above the line, yes, above that 50% line. So they were feeling very positive about what he was talking about. And just from memory, the key areas were around selling off state assets.
Yes.
So when he talked about you don't sell your house to pay the mortgage, people were supportive of that. But generally, he seemed to be able to gain the support and the interest of the people who typically wouldn't support him, whereas John Key seemed to be much more. His audience remained divided. They were either for him or against him, and he didn't really manage to move too many who were against him towards him.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Michelle. Obviously, it's
all
going to come out in the wash tomorrow. Should be exciting.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure.
It'll be exciting. Good luck.
Thanks.
Bye, Alistair.
Bye-bye.